Deep in the Bay of Bengal, part of the Andaman Islands, lies a small, forested island called North Sentinel. This island is home to the Sentinelese, a tribe that has remained almost completely isolated from the outside world. For what is believed to be 60,000 years, they have lived in voluntary isolation, rejecting all attempts at contact and preserving a way of life that dates back to the Stone Age. This is the story of the Sentinelese, the history of failed attempts to connect with them, and the crucial reasons why we must respect their wish to be left alone. The Sentinelese are one of the last uncontacted peoples on Earth. Their language is unknown, their customs are a mystery, and their population is estimated to be anywhere from a few dozen to a few hundred individuals. They are hunter-gatherers, living off the bounty of their island. They craft simple canoes, known as outriggers, to navigate the shallow waters around their coral reefs, fishing and gathering what they need. Their hostility towards outsiders is not born of baseless aggression but is a deeply ingrained defense mechanism, honed over millennia of isolation and likely shaped by negative encounters in the past. The first documented attempt to make contact came in the late 19th century, a period marked by colonial expansion. In 1880, a British naval officer named Maurice Vidal Portman led an armed expedition to North Sentinel Island. His mission was one of pacification and contact, a common colonial objective of the time. Portman and his team scoured the island for days, finding recently abandoned villages with huts and cooking fires still warm, but the Sentinelese themselves were nowhere to be found. They had retreated deep into the dense jungle, expertly evading the intruders. Eventually, the expedition captured an elderly couple and several children, bringing them back to Port Blair, the main administrative center of the Andaman Islands. The goal was to show them kindness, lavish them with gifts, and then return them to the island to act as ambassadors of goodwill. However, the plan tragically backfired. Removed from their natural environment and exposed to diseases for which they had no immunity, the elderly couple quickly fell ill and passed away. Fearing a greater disaster, Portman's team hastily returned the children to North Sentinel Island, leaving them with gifts. It is impossible to know what the children conveyed to their tribe upon their return, but this traumatic first encounter likely solidified the Sentinelese perception of outsiders as a source of danger and death. This event set a grim precedent for all future interactions, teaching the tribe that contact with the outside world brought nothing but sorrow. For much of the 20th century, the Sentinelese were left largely undisturbed. But in the late 1960s, the Indian government began a series of planned contact expeditions, hoping to establish friendly relations. An anthropologist named Triloknath Pundit led many of these trips. For decades, these gift-dropping missions followed a predictable pattern. A team would approach the island's shore by boat, being careful not to land. They would drop gifts like coconuts, cooking pots, and other goods into the water, hoping the Sentinelese would accept them as a sign of peace. The reactions from the tribe were mixed but predominantly hostile. Sometimes, the Sentinelese would gesture with their bows and arrows, making it clear the visitors were not welcome. On other occasions, they would turn their backs and sit on their haunches, a gesture interpreted as a form of insult or rejection. Even when they accepted the gifts, particularly coconuts which do not grow on their island, they never let their guard down. The threat of violence was always present, with warriors often aiming their arrows at the boats as a clear warning to keep their distance. One of the few instances of seemingly peaceful contact occurred in 1991. During one of Pundit's expeditions, the Sentinelese, for the first time, approached the boat without weapons and began collecting the coconuts directly from the water. It was a breakthrough moment, but it was short-lived. This brief period of tolerance did not last. Subsequent attempts to replicate this peaceful interaction were met with renewed hostility. It seemed the Sentinelese had decided they had seen enough. By the mid-1990s, the Indian government officially ceased its contact missions, recognizing the futility and potential harm of these efforts. The policy shifted from one of contact to one of protection and non-interference. It became illegal for anyone to go within 5 nautical miles of North Sentinel Island. This law was put in place not only to protect outsiders from the Sentinelese but, more importantly, to protect the Sentinelese from the outside world. The most significant threat we pose to the Sentinelese is disease. After 60,000 years of isolation, their immune systems are not equipped to handle common illnesses like the flu, measles, or even the common cold. An outbreak of a seemingly minor virus could be catastrophic, potentially wiping out their entire population. We have seen this tragic story play out countless times throughout history. When isolated indigenous communities come into contact with outsiders, the results are often devastating due to the spread of infectious diseases. The protection of the Sentinelese is a matter of their very survival. Despite the strict laws, there have been a few tragic incidents in recent years. In 2006, 2 fishermen illegally poaching in the waters near the island had their boat's anchor fail while they slept. Their boat drifted ashore, and they were killed by the tribe. When a Coast Guard helicopter flew over to investigate and attempt to retrieve the bodies, it was met with a volley of arrows, making it clear that even in death, the islanders did not want any interference. The bodies were never recovered, and the incident served as another stark reminder of the Sentinelese' unwavering desire to be left alone. More recently, in 2018, an American missionary named John Allen Chow illegally traveled to North Sentinel Island. Driven by a desire to convert the tribe, he paid local fishermen to take him to the island, ignoring all warnings and laws. His diary entries reveal a series of attempts to make contact, all of which were met with fear and hostility. On his final visit, he was killed by the tribe. This event sparked a global debate about the ethics of contacting isolated peoples and the arrogance of imposing one's beliefs on a culture that has explicitly rejected the outside world. Chow's actions were not only illegal but also incredibly dangerous. He risked introducing deadly pathogens to the tribe, a risk that far outweighed any perceived benefit of his mission. The incident reinforced the Indian government's policy of non-interference and highlighted the necessity of leaving the Sentinelese in peace. The story of the Sentinelese is a powerful lesson in humility. It challenges our modern assumption that progress, technology, and global interconnectedness are universally desirable. The Sentinelese have a right to self-determination, a right to choose their own way of life, even if it is completely different from our own. Their continued existence is a testament to human resilience and adaptability. They have survived for millennia without modern medicine, agriculture, or technology. They are a living link to a distant human past, and their isolation is the only thing that ensures their future. Leaving them alone is not an act of neglect, it is an act of respect. It is an acknowledgement that we, as the outside world, are the greater threat to them, not the other way around. Their arrows are a defense against a world that has, in the past, brought them only suffering and disease. We must continue to monitor the island from a distance, protecting it from poachers, tourists, and missionaries, ensuring that their home remains inviolate. The fate of the Sentinelese depends on our ability to restrain our curiosity and our impulse to interfere. Their story is a reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved, and some worlds are best left untouched. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the world of the Sentinelese. If you found this story compelling, please subscribe to Facts Repo for more content that explores the fascinating corners of our world. We believe that understanding and respecting different cultures is key to a better future for everyone.